Well, that did not go the way I wanted it to. Hello, everyone. I have this box here that I was using for the blocks that I was making for the block swap that I joined over on Rita's Roost. I'll leave her channel link down below. I had some scraps left over and I had this brilliant idea, and I was in a rush and decided I didn't need to do any math on paper, just in my head, and it would all work out in the end, right? Well, anyways, I'll just give you a quick walkthrough on what my thought process was here and how it all went. So I wanted to make like a scrappy block that looked like a brick wall, kind of. Like I wanted this one from my quilt because once I got all the blocks from everybody else, I was going to sew this in there, and that way I had a little scrappy block that had from the fabrics that I used for the blocks that I sent out. Just a little something, but yeah, I really should have taken the time and done the math properly instead of just kind of randomly in my head. So I cut 7 squares at 2 by 2 and 21 at 2 by 3.5. And don't do this, it did not work out. Just letting you know now, I'm just going to show you what I did. And then I just kind of laid them out like this, and I cut little strips of the background fabric that I had used to put in between. I like the design of it, and for the most part, I probably would have still used it, but I made some other mistakes too. I really shouldn't have been sewing today. My head wasn't in the game. I was just trying to rush to get this block done. But yeah, this is what it looked like. And then I figured I would just lay my ruler on here and trim off those little strips on the end there because I knew they were going to be too long, but that was fine. But then this is where I realized that my block was way too tall, but it wasn't wide enough. And I was just like, oh my word, why did I do this? And this is also where I seen that one strip there I sewed very wonky, and I did not get a 1/4 inch seam, so it looks kind of blah. But I still wasn't going to give up on it, so I trimmed it down to 11 by 11 inches, and then I figured I would just cut some strips of fabric from the background. This was all I had left over anyway, and then I would just sew a border around there, and I could still use this block. Yeah, no, I mean, that all did work out, but then I had cut those strips too wide, so I had to trim it down. But I mean, trimming down is better than not having enough, so that wasn't an issue for me either. But then when I finished it and I put it up on the wall, I took one look at that green wonky block there, and I just couldn't. I was just like, nope, well, let's start over. So back to the bin I went and started sorting through the fabrics. And I had quite a bit of this purple floral print left over, and I did like it. I didn't have enough background to do this, so I just used a different background that I had in my stash, but I figured it didn't matter. And then I figured I'd throw another color in there just so it wasn't all just two colors and a little bit more variety, if you know what I mean. So I figured I would do a friendship star block. These are fairly simple to do. I was just like, I can't mess this up, right? So I cut 4 squares of background at 4.5 inches, and then I did the fifth one for the center, a different color, but 4.5. And then two of my purple print at 5 inches, and then two background at 5 inches. So we're going to take our 5 inch squares for the background and draw a line on the back of both of those, and we're going to pair those up with the purple ones, right sides together. And then we're going to make some half square triangles by sewing a 1/4 inch down each side. I did share my field block because I figured, you know what, we don't always win, and that's fine. Mistakes happen, but that's how we learn. And there's nothing wrong with that. But just don't be me and take the time to do the math. But if you would like to see what that quilt's going to look like for my block swap, make sure that you subscribe so that you won't miss any of those videos coming up. I will be sharing the blocks that I got, and then when it's time to put it all together, I will walk you through how I do that. So these are ready to go to the sewing machine. I'm going to go and sew a 1/4 inch on each side. Once that's done, I already heat set my seams so the line is no longer there, but now we just need to cut these apart so that we have two half square triangles from each unit here. I'm just going to use my ruler, my rotary cutter, and do that. You could use scissors if you wanted to, but I just do this. It's a lot faster. And then I'm just going to use my slotted trimmer here to trim my half square triangles to 4.5 inch square. If you're interested in this ruler or any of the other tools that I use, I always have them linked in the description box down below. They are affiliate links, so I do earn a small commission. It doesn't cost you anything extra though, but it does help support my channel, and I really do appreciate it. I'm going to press these half square triangles, and then we are ready to start assembling. So I'm going to take my centerpiece and lay it down, and then the best way I can explain this is just to show you there is a way to lay them out, but the top and the bottom need to be opposite of each other, because if you do it like that, it wouldn't look right. So if you have one facing to the right, you want it facing to the left on the bottom, and the same thing with the left and right side. There's a lot of left and rights. I hope that made sense. But yeah, then we just lay our background pieces on the corners there, and then we are ready to sew this together. It's like a 9 patch, very simple to do, and I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and do that. But just so you know, that centerpiece there, you could do it the same as the background or a different color. Just adds variety. So I'm just going to chain piece all of these together because, well, it just goes faster for me, and I would like to get this blog done so that I can move on to other projects. I have some ideas for my scrap boxes, so I just need to do some sorting there, and hopefully I can get that going, and then I will have some nice scrappy videos coming up for you guys in the near future. I just sew all of my rows together, and then I go to the ironing station, and then I will press all my seams. But I will make sure that I press the middle one opposite of what I did the top and the bottom one. That way I can nest my seams. And here I'm taking the time to pin because I want to make sure that my seams line up nicely and I want it to look good. And there we have it. The block is all done. I just need to square it up and then I'm going to head over to my wall and hang it up there and show you some of the other blocks that I've gotten so far. So this block, everything worked out nicely. I had barely anything come off of there. It was just a few little fuzzies pretty much, as my kids call the loose threads. But yeah, it was very minimal that I had to trim off. And there we go. That's my block up on the wall. And then these are some of the other ones that I have received so far. I still have quite a few coming. But I do live in Canada, so everybody else in this swap is from the US, so it does take a little bit longer to get to me, but that's okay. I am patiently waiting for them. I am absolutely loving these blocks, and I can't wait to see them all together once I decide a sashing color. And I hope you stick around to see what it looks like because these are all beautiful, and I cannot wait to see all the rest of the blocks that I get. And I'm also very thankful that they were willing to let me join the swap because I know shipping to Canada costs a little bit more and I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of it. Well, thank you for stopping by and until next time.